Ki ngā maunga, ki ngā awa, ki ngā waka, ki ngā iwi, tēnā koutou katoa. Kei te mihi ahau ki te mana whenua o tēnei wāhi. Ko Kylie Adamson tōku ingoa, tēnā koutou katoa. I'm Kylie. I spent the first 20 years of my career as an architectural technician. Spent a bit of time with Jasmax. Good to see Mel here. Dennis Burns kicked off my career. And I spent some time with HMOA. They taught me how to detail. Now I'm with Mahoney as a project BIM manager. It's my happy place. Today I'm going to share a couple of ideas about how we can grow our industry. The intent here is to just get the conversations flowing for the panel discussion, so I'm just going to talk in broad terms. A couple of ideas. The first one is around sharing knowledge through collaboration, and the second one is applying learnings and trying new things to our projects. At Mahoney, we really foster that environment of collaboration. We supply the tech to enhance communication. Then we educate and support the consultant team to use those tools. We had to really lean into the education idea for this project. It's a global IT company headquarters in Sydney. The consultant team was spread globally, so we had cultural differences and time differences to navigate. The trickiest aspect, though, was the heritage component. So the two existing brick buildings are state and heritage listed. Any new interventions with the existing fabric were under really close scrutiny. The heritage consultant actually had the power to stop the project at any time, so it was really important that we kept him happy. He had this little motto, if it's old, let it mould. He was actually keen to use BIM tools to support his approvals process. He'd not used them before, but he was willing to learn. It was a bit of a wobbly start. We actually had to help him upgrade the operating system on his PC so he could install the software. Once we got that out of the way, though, things started to run smoothly. We taught him how to use Revisto, and then we set up clash testing to identify all instances where the new build interacted with heritage fabric. He taught us what interventions were acceptable, so we were able to filter out those clashes to leave the real issues for the design team to resolve. We also taught him how to identify coordination problems, design issues that weren't captured by the automated clash testing. For example, where elements of the new build interacted and blocked the view of the heritage elements, like the beautiful brick arched windows up the top there. Now he's fairly happy with where the design is sitting, and we're moving on to the tender phase of work, so that's quite exciting. By making collaboration a priority, we all achieved the BIM deliverables, met those, but more importantly, we learnt from each other, and we'll each take those learnings on to the next project, which segues conveniently into my next point. We can evolve our projects if we apply learnings and try new things. Lincoln University Waimarie is a great example of this. It's a recently completed science, research and learning facility. For this project, we actually had the trades modelling during the detail design phase. By having the trades on board early, we're able to avoid some of the rework that sometimes happens during the shop drawing phase. We also set clearance requirements to some of our clash testing to allow for installation and maintenance. We tried really hard to make the testing efficient, to refine it, make it efficient and useful. There was still, though, a large uptick in the number of clashes identified. The design team, though, they rose to the challenge and resolved all of those. We had a really well-coordinated design to build off. The finished facility looks fantastic, and we've got a happy client to show for it. To sum up those ideas, you want to really make it a priority to collaborate and share your learnings, and where you can, apply learnings and try new things on your projects. That's how we're going to evolve. Thank you.
There we go. Hi everyone, I'm Kevin O'Neill, VDC BIM Manager at Hawkins. Some of you may be wondering where Christian is, but I can assure he's not been arrested or he's not doing his digital community service. But anyway, sadly he can't be here with us today, so I'm here to present, so please go easy. A big emphasis for the Hawkins digital construction team is how we implement BIM and digital workflows at a time when new technology is exploding at a rapid pace. But we're still operating in an industry that are traditionally slow-moving and hesitant to change. But what is the right technology? AI-based image generation, such as the image on the screen, which was generated by DALL-E 2, is one recent development. This example was created from the prompt of building our digital construction community. Probably not a lot of use during the middle of a construction project where we need the latest RFIs yesterday. But what about consultant advice notices being created by ChatGPT, which has been mentioned earlier? How about BIM, digital engineering, digital twins, or whatever next year's buzzwords is? A lot of this technology has been developing over the past few decades, but we're still developing off paper drawings. And our teams often still have limited trust in or ability to make use of 3D models and the processes that go with them. Often, we're simply just too busy to take a productivity hit by learning to do things differently, or more broadly, implementing new processes. Sure, we've got pockets of excellence, the A-team that's doing exciting things with the latest gadgets, but how do we get that across to everyone? How do we lift everyone to that same high benchmark? How do we build our digital community when much of that community is resistant to change and many simply just want to do their day job and to stick to the things they've always done? Whether that means project managers visiting sites, site managers, programmers and planners sequencing methods, our foremen coordinating work at the coalface, service engineers reviewing documents, quantity surveyors measuring and pricing, or everyone just mucking in getting the job done. There's a huge variety of people and roles across the industry, not all of which want to be digital experts. They are their own roles first and foremost, with all the tasks that go with them. We can't simply train everyone to do BIM, as it's such a broad topic, and no sooner than you get someone proficient in one tool, the next best thing's been released. We also have global resource and skill shortage to contend with, and everyone was drawing from that same pool. So we can't just hope that more digital experts are going to appear and fill the gap. From one of the NZIOB's Light Lunch webinars earlier this year, it was clear that there is a lack of depth of the resource in New Zealand to actually meet our digital needs. So what's the solution? How do we work with the resources we have whilst putting the best tools in their hands in a way that works for them, whilst also supporting their existing processes rather than giving them entirely new ones to learn and follow? Perhaps in some ways, it might be easier to stick with some of the old processes, but practically supporting them with the right technology at the right time, for starters at least. One thing we've spent a lot of time working on at Hawkins over the past few years is automation. Using computers to do some of the boring sides of digital, the exporting, the updating, the distributing of models, or extracting project metadata and publishing it to dashboards. Instead of paying people to just sit at their desks, click buttons and do repetitive tasks, our automation server does all the model processing that a BIM manager might typically spend a few hours doing once a week. Instead, this is done on our projects every single night. We're ensuring that our teams have up-to-date model information hot off the press every morning, capturing any changes made by our subcontractors or modelling providers the previous day. This helps to increase the reliability of the models we're using, as well as enabling teams on smaller projects that might not have a dedicated BIM manager to actually have the same experience that other BIM-enabled projects would have. When our teams are given accurate information that they know they can rely on and trust, without needing to be a BIM software expert, they're much more likely to refer to the model rather than reaching for the status quo of the big pile of drawings. This means our teams have better understanding of the projects they're working on. Where a picture tells 1,000 words, a detailed metadata-rich model is the entire encyclopedia. What the dashboard indicated earlier was the duration of automated model processing undertaken across several projects over the last 11 months. 2,256 hours to be precise. It's the equivalent of one full-time employee doing nothing but model processing across several projects for an entire year. The result is enabling our teams to use digital information for their role, regardless of their job title, and they don't have to be a BIM expert. Any one of our projects look like this, where a majority of our team have 3D model information at their fingertips. We're also looking to extend this workflow to extract model quantity information for our commercial teams and serve it to them as the spreadsheets they know and love, or as interactive dashboards, alerting them of changes in the coordination process. Next one. Ultimately, BIM and digital aren't about making wholesale changes to how we do things. Construction for a long time to come will be digging a hole, filling it with concrete and following it with steel, timber and glass. Sure, digital and BIM offer a huge range of new tools, but this needs to be teamed with a need for practical application with our existing resources and processes. The automation I've demonstrated here is just one of the practical application that adds value to our projects every day without drastically changing how we work. We could liken this to the same change that came about when the nail gun was invented. Carpenters were still carpenters, but now they could be significantly more productive through technological innovation. So what's going to be your digital nail gun for building your digital community? Thank you.
So morning all, I'm Adam from Assemble, and well, this is the journey from design to handover and beyond. Lost it? So we started working on this exciting project in 2018 with Auckland Airport. The site comprises of 2 large adjacent buildings and a smaller gatehouse, which were each delivered under separate contracts. Each building had a separate design and engineering team, and each building had a separate main contractor. Assemble were engaged as the project information managers from the start of the project to ensure that the information deliverables were met from start through each project phase all the way through to handover. The 8,000 square metre head office was delivered by Hawkins and Christian McCartney that delivered a wonderful project and contributed to the success of the project. The 80,000 square metre distribution centre was delivered by McCreaney Commercial Construction. Having a record model for operations is one of the key project goals. It was essential for the appointing party, being Auckland Airport, to have a digital asset that reflected the built asset, both graphically and non-graphically. To provide clarity, the appointing party, Auckland Airport, defined the asset information requirements at the start of the project. The Auckland Airport Asset Information Delivery Manual, also known as the AIDM, version 1 you can see on the screen here, clearly defined the building elements and what asset attributes pertain to each building element based on project phase. It's essential to remember that what's important to the operations team and not blanket the whole project, because this can be a costly exercise. The asset attributes were collated into an IFC property set for simplified access and consistency across all disciplines. So one of the key things is validating the information and ensure it can be relied upon, and essentially is trustworthy. Therefore, one of the key pieces of work is the verification process. For this project, we had teams on site that verified each room manually. Each space was reviewed by the team member to ensure that the information was accurate both graphically and non-graphically and could be relied upon by the end user. The issues were raised in Revisto. The issue was then assigned to the relevant delivery team. Supporting information was attached to the issue. by means of photo, O&Ms, sketches, so on and so forth. The issue was then actioned and closed out. The models were then handed over to Auckland Airport. Both the office and the distribution centre were awarded winners of the 2021 Building Smart International Awards for handover category, a bit of a mouthful. So now we had information models. These information models contained graphical information, non-graphical information, and documentation. The record models were then handed over to the tenant, being Foodstuffs. Foodstuffs quickly realised that they could leverage these information models for day-to-day operations, such as space planning, digital asset and facilities management, and renovations or construction works. So Foodstuffs are looking to the future and stepping away from the legacy way of working. So new opportunities, new way of working, and a new digital management system. With API integrations with SAP and their BMS system. The facilities team at Foodstuffs would like to create an interactive experience where the digital asset or the model may be located in a central location in the office, so any of the team members can walk up, navigate their way through the model, and raise a fault, an issue, so on and so forth. The facilities team are then able to vet these faults. They can review them, locate them, so on and so forth, and then they can raise a work order. That work order is emailed directly to the technician or the contractor within a matter of seconds. The technician or contractor is also able to view the model or the digital asset on their computer, locate the asset, understand all the information about it, any shuttle files that they may need to be aware of, any issues they may come across when they arrive on site in regards to access, so on and so forth. Working in this way, I suppose, ensures the right people have the right information at the right time, saving time and money. Since taking possession of the site, Foodstuffs has undertaken a number of construction projects. One of the recent construction projects that were finished last month was a new activity hub for the distribution centre. The information models were handed over to the contractor carrying out the work. The contractor was able to explore all the existing in-ground services and make better informed decisions when tying into the existing infrastructure before construction work began. So again, right people, right information, right time, saving time and money. So a couple of key points just to wrap up. Sorry, there you go, actually on screen. I should have clicked that earlier. So purple is the existing infrastructure. The blue is the new infrastructure. And probably something I didn't touch on, I'm on stop, but yes, Foodstuffs have added 8,000 new elements to that model. So that model's being reused and it's keep working. That's the completed product there. So key points to wrap up: define your information requirements early and make sure you involve the operations team. Understand why you want that information. Once you've done that, work with the delivery teams to understand why that information is needed. Last point, last but not least, is crucial, is verifying the information to ensure trustworthiness so that the end user can rely on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Adam, Kevin and Kylie, I have a couple of questions. We've got, I think, just under 10 minutes to do questions. So we've got 11 minutes. Let's go for gold. Okay. Kevin, what do we need from designers to help contractors? Kevin hasn't got a microphone, so I can share mine, or he can have. Do you want me to hand him one? It was right there, Colin. Sorry, thank you. You're magic. Kevin, what do we need from designers to help contractors to extract information from models for pricing?
Lots of good attributes put in the model would be great. As much information, good information that we can put in there as possible.
Lots of info, designers, lots of info.
Structured information, sorry,
Structured information, or what about, try this one. Should all the metadata be loaded into the model? ? Have Hawkins considered managing the metadata in another way, such as a connected database?
That could be a good one for Christian.
That's good, isn't it?
I'll phone him during the construction corner. Yeah.
Adam, what issues are you facing with keeping the asset model up to date with revisions to real site data?
So far, Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah, there you go. So far, we haven't had any issues. The information's been structured from the start of the project, which has been a huge help. Once passing over to foodstuffs, they've been updated, I suppose, every 6 months. And it's separated from the base build as well. So we understand what the assets belong to the base build or the appointing party or the building owner. And we also understand what changes have been done since foodstuff took ownership. If that answers the
It's
question.
hard to talk and move
Yeah.
your hands. You can
And
only
everybody-
gesticulate
yeah.
with one hand when you're doing the microphone.
Yeah.
You're doing good. Kylie, this one is for you, so we'll hand the microphone down. Is Warren and Mahoney, or are Warren and Mahoney prepared to share BIM IP and lead the industry in collaborative sharing?
Absolutely, and we do.
What's that?
Absolutely,
Yes,
we do.
Answer is yes and already. Nothing else? Okay, cool. No, that's good. This one here says, are we not at a point that we need some level of revolution to make the seismic shift needed on some fronts, like climate change? Who wants to have a go at that one? Anyone? Okay, we will pause on that one. Are Adam's eyelashes real? Had 2 upvotes. You're confirming they are. Okay, this one is a kind of a party panel question. Are we currently connected between design, Kylie, digital, Adam, and construction, Kevin? Do you think we are connected? What would you say, Kylie?
We're heading in that direction. We're not there yet. There are some hurdles to overcome. I think that's kind of the next connect for us, is how we move from the design phase to construction and operations with the BIM information that we have and the data. We do have these processes, but you've got often contractual complexities to contend with.
Just one thing, the whole sort of integrated project delivery, integrated project delivery, which I've experienced in previous positions overseas, and the whole alliancing sort of, Richard, when he was talking about the enterprise system, where people have got skin in the game, everyone working sort of collaboratively and less contractual sort of things, which you pointed on as well. I think will make big changes to the industry.
Okay. Adam, do you want to add anything to that? Okay, I've got a question for you then.
They covered it.
Is Auckland Airport tracking the time and cost savings to build into future business cases?
I would say so. I probably can't answer that without Carl here.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we'd
unfortunately.
need Carl to, but he thinks that they are. Adam, another one for you. From a QS that often reviews design models with gaps, they are interested to learn more about your verification process. Can you speak to that?
Yes, can do. So verification process.
Colin, can we just have his lapel mic up? Yeah, you're just going to use the lapel. Yeah, nice.
Yes, so for this project, the verification process was fairly manual, and again, we had teams on site, so each team on site had a mobile device with the model there. They walked to each wall and validated the services that were behind the linings, and then again at practical completion. Now we're leveraging automation to speed that process up. Yeah, and I still think there is I'd say 50-50 would be automation. The other half, you can't take away that human review process. It's got to be there. You've got to validate that information. You've got to validate that data.
So complex verification process, but important.
Yeah.
Yep. Another one for you, and it is, was there any point cloud survey done to match the last model? Was there any point cloud, is that correct? Was there any point cloud survey done to match last model?
No,
You're fine.
No, there wasn't. So it was a greenfield to start with. All in-ground services were what we refer to as an MAB, so that's a measured as built. So they were surveyed. They were then checked to ensure they were accurate when the model was handed over. So again, handing that model over to the new contractor that was working on the activity hub, we were fairly confident that that information could be relied upon, so there was no need for any point clouds or in-ground scanning.
Okay, cool. Kevin, how about you on this one? Advice on managing subcontractor designers during the design process, or unless Kylie wants to do that? Yeah, go for it, Kylie. Advice on managing subcontractor designers during the design process.
I think it all comes down to communication, making sure that we've got the tools set up but also ensuring that we've got the right environment and the supportive environment to hear what people have to say, and to be open enough to tweak things, course correct as the project moves along.
And this, I don't know who wants to answer this, but is a BIM construction model a contract document? It might be a silly question, but is that why we tend to stick with paper?
So it's a sometimes question. Yeah, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
How do we tell the difference?
In the contract.
It's written in, I was going to say, it's written
So
into
you
the
have
contract.
to read the contract.
Yeah,
It either is or it isn't.
it's a deliverable.
Do you want to have anything to say on that, Kim?
No, just a thought on my previous question, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Someone asked about the quantification and what we would need from that. Consistency is a really good one. Just looking at one this week and sort of pulling out some quantifications from a model, we had 140 by 45 timbers, and then the next line was 40 by 140 timbers. So it was just the nomenclature is a good started, but just consistency and accuracy. But can't have everything.
Nice. Adam, you've got your lapel mic on. What about this one? What if the surfaces in the wall were in different locations? Was the model updated to suit?
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's right. So that's the whole point of the verification process. Again, pre-line, do a review, make sure all the services are there. That information is sent back to the delivery teams. They make the updates. And then again, practical completion to verify, obviously, the plumbing fixture, also on and so forth as well. Yeah.
Carl and John ask, what struggles do you have within the NZBCA environment consenting and inspections-wise? Who wants to have a go at that? Kevin! Don't turn it off. No. It's lots of struggles, maybe, is the answer. I don't know. All right. Someone notices that the pants and shoes are very coordinated. What was the process? But somebody else says...
Yeah, you like that? Thank you very much.
Isn't it so fun,
There's some
just
great
having me as
questions.
your
Thank you.
I've
mouthpiece?
got
You
Chelsea
can just
boots. They're different, yeah.
come up with funny things and I'll say them for you. Hello, main contractors. Do you provide sustainability report to client? Do you track carbon and provide accurate data? Are we all aware of the 6D BIM?
Could you repeat the question, sorry?
Yes.
The first bit.
Do you provide sustainability report to client? Do you track carbon and provide accurate data? Are we all aware of the 6D BIM?
In pockets that would happen, but I wouldn't say it's across the board. But it's somewhere that we need to get to, I think. But 6D BIM, there's a lot of Ds within the industry, but which 6D are you referring to? Sustainability? Yeah.
Anyone else want to have a go? Happy? All right, fantastic. They look pretty happy, don't they? A huge round of applause for Kylie, Adam and Kevin.